Hello my yarny friends, welcome to my nookery. My name's Linda and today is Knitting with Linda or Knitting a Linda first tutorial. I'm going back to basics, so I'm going to show you what I keep in my knitting notions pouch. I'll go through needles and then we're going to cast on and we're going to do some knitting. So let's turn you to overhead and let's make a start, shall we guys? I'm so excited. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk you through is what to keep in your notions pouch for knitting. It's more or less the same as for your crocheting notions, but there's a few things in here, so I'm just going to take everything out and we'll go through what I have. I always have a little nail file because you know what it's like if your nail is snagged, so I'll just put that to one side. I have a pair of scissors. I have two different types of stitch markers. I have this type which is for marking the rows, and then I have this type which when I'm doing patterns I can distinguish between which part of the pattern I'm working on. So I've got three different sizes, as you can see. I have some tapestry hooks in a little tube. I have a crochet hook, and this crochet hook I use to, if I drop a stitch, and I will go through all that with you at a later stage, but for now a tape measure, of course, and these are invaluable. They go when you're working and you put your knitting down, you put these on the end of your needles and they prevent your stitches from coming off. And of course I've got a little row counter. This is an old one. I've had this for quite some time. So as you can see, that's a row counter. So that more or less is the only thing different in here than in your crochet is your knitting, your stitch marker, knitting stitch markers, a crochet hook, a row counter, and of course your little stitch knitting needle stoppers. So that is what I keep in my knitting notions bag. Okay, so I just want to go through knitting needles, and as I said in my live a couple of weeks ago, bamboo needles for beginners are the best. But back in the day when I learnt to knit, there were no bamboo needles, it was all metal. So I can work on metal, but I find as I get older the metal needles tend to make my wrists ache. So I still use the bamboo, come in all different sizes. But for this you're going to need a 4mm needle, and as you can see the different sizes. These are all a set. I've had this set a long time, and these came into, these were gifted to me, these, and as you can see they're shorter, but unfortunately they're not a 4mm. There's a 5 and a 6.5. so yeah, so they're the needles we're going to be using today, because we're going to be using 3-weight yarn, DK, here in the UK, and this is my pouch. I just got this off Amazon. It's really handy to store my needles so they don't get damaged. So that's that. I just want to quickly talk to you about circular needles, and I've found since I've started using circular needles I much prefer them to the straight needles. This is a set which I was gifted off my husband, and they go from 3.5 all the way up to 8mm, and these are the interchangeable ones, and you get the wires, and the wires are, let me see, I can tell you what's the measurements. No, I can't because it doesn't tell you, but you could get instructions on how to use them. And these are a couple of my favourites as well. I do have metal ones, so I've got a 2.5, and these are fixed, circular. My one and only pair of Chaigu, which again were gifted to me. And this is a 0.5. And then these are just, I use these when I'm making hats and that, these smaller ones. I've got 2 of each. And then this is a metal one, and this is a 3.3mm. This is a 3mm. I am going to, so that's that set, which I really do like using. I find I like to use the circulars for shawls and that, because obviously you increase, and this is a set as well. So we've got the 5mm missing at the moment, and you get the different wires. So you get an 8cm, a 60cm cord. Then you get an 80cm cord, which is the orange, and the 100cm, that's for your longer projects, and the longer one is ideal for your shawls. So yeah, I just wanted to just show you. There are, you know, different sizes. Oh, that goes in that box. So, you know, I've got little ones for socks. When I use a 3 or a 4 weight, a 3 or a 4 weight yarn. That needle's being used. Again, I've got this. I like the symphony ones of the Knit Pro because they're like a wood, and that's just a spare wire. So yeah, so it's entirely up to you. If you prefer working with circular needles, then that's entirely up to you. But if you have any questions about needles, please don't hesitate to email me. So shall we start? Now this is some yarn that was left over from a project, and I've caked it up, and I always put the label inside so I can tell you now what this is. So this is a Deramos Studio Baby Soft DK. Recommended needles are 4mm, and it even gives you the tension square, and then again for the crochet hook, which is a 3.5. It's a US 6, a 4mm is a US 6, guys. And it's 100% acrylic, and then obviously this, you know, it tells you cold rinse, short spin, and that. Unfortunately, Deramors are no more, but for this project, for this tutorial, it's just fine. So let's make a start on. Let me just make sure it's not snagged, which it looks like it is. I've got a knot, guys. I've got a knot. So there we go. Whoops, that's not good. I need to find this. This is this. Move it out the way. I don't know why it's gone knotted, but it has. Never mind. I'll just pull it out. Okay, I always like to give myself plenty of yarn when I'm starting, and we're going to do the cast on 2 needle method. I don't know how to cast on with the long tail. It's not something that I've tried the thumb method, don't like it. I don't like the way the cast on edge looks. It doesn't look really neat, and for me, I always cast on with 2 needles. So what you need to do is make a slip knot. So I'll do that again for you. So you cross it round your needle, your finger, your needle. You lift the loop up and you still got a cross, and put your thumb on, and then just bring that yarn forward, pick it up, and you've created a slip knot. And I'm sure if you're crocheters, you know how to do a slip knot. So we're going to make it the length, the width, just tighten it a bit, not too tight so that you can't get your needle in. And what we're going to do, I'm going to talk you through this now. I want you to, okay, so you put your yarn, your right hand needle through the center of the stitch on your left hand needle. You put your yarn round your right needle, you pull it through, you swing the right needle across, you bring your left needle forward through the loop that you've just created, and there you've got 2 stitches. That's the first stitch, and that's the only time I go through the stitch. For casting on the next stitches, I put my right hand needle through the 2 stitches. Can you see? I hope you can see. And then we're going to yarn round needle, pull through, swing your right needle across, bring your left needle in, go through the loop you've just created, and you've created 3. I'll do that again. So between the 2nd and 3rd stitch, you put your needle, your right hand needle, you yarn round your right hand needle, you pull the needle through, swing the right hand needle across, bring your left hand needle forward, and scoop it into the loop you've made. 4. Again, in between the stitches 3 and 4, you put your needle, yarn round needle, pull the needle through, and you've got a loop on your needle. Well, it's a stitch, it's going to be a stitch. Swing the needle round, put your left hand needle through the stitch you've just created, and pull your right hand needle out, and you've got 5 stitches. We're going to do this for 40. I want you to put 40 stitches on your needle. So in through between the 2 stitches, don't pull your stitch too tight that you can't get your needle through. Yarn round needle, pull through, swing to the right, put your left hand needle through the stitch you've just created, and pull your right hand needle out. In between the 2 stitches, yarn round needle. So we're going to make a slip knot, and it's just like you do when you do your slip knot if you're a crocheter. Cross your yarn, make a cross on your finger, and bring the yarn through to make a slip knot. There we go, if I can get it, there we go. So I've made a slip knot. Now don't tighten it too tight onto your needle. What you need to do is you need to put your needle through the stitch, the slip knot on your needle, put your right hand needle through, yarn round the needle, bring it through, swing your right hand needle across, bring your left hand needle in, and scoop up that stitch you've just made. Now on the next set of rows, we're going to be putting 40 stitches on here, guys. I hope you can see, hope the lighting is okay, and that. So what we're going to do is, I'm just going to bring my lighting down a bit just so you can see. Okay, so I hope you can see. So we've got 2 stitches, 1 and 2. So now we're going to bring the needle between the 2 stitches that you've made. Yarn round needle, pull through, swing your right hand needle across, bring your left hand needle in and scoop the stitch off the right hand needle. Do it again. In between the 2 stitches, yarn round needle, pull through, swing to the right, bring your left needle in, scoop the stitch off the right hand needle onto your left hand needle, and we've got 4 stitches. I hope you can see 4 stitches. So we'll do it again. I'll go through it with you slowly. Yarn between the right hand needle between the 2 stitches on your hook, on your needle, not hook, we're not crocheting Linda. You put your yarn round your needle, you bring your needle through with the stitch on your right hand needle, swing your right hand needle around, bring your left hand needle through the stitch on your right hand needle and put it on your left hand needle. So I'll do it again. So we're going in, round, through, swing, bring your left hand needle through and scoop onto your left. So we're going between the 2 stitches, yarn round needle, pull through, swing, swing back in, scoop the stitch off. Yarn round needle between the 2 stitches, yarn round needle, pull through, swing, swing the left hand, scoop the stitch onto your left. So swing, scoop, in, round, through, swing, scoop, in, round, swing, scoop, in, round, swing, scoop. So you've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, and we want 40. 12. So in, round, swing, scoop, in, round, swing, scoop, in, round, swing, scoop, in, round, swing, scoop. And just continue doing that, guys, until you've got 40 stitches. And I'll come back when I've got 40 stitches on my needle. Okay, so let's see if I've got 40 on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32, 34, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And by doing the cast on, can you see how smooth and straight that edge is? And that is why I will always cast on with 2 stitches. 2 needles, not 2 stitches, 2 needles. So if you've got this far, yay, congratulations. So now, guys, we're going to start to knit. Okay? It's the same principle. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be moving your stitches off your left hand needle onto your right hand needle, and that's what you're going to do all the time. So we're going to put our right hand needle through the stitch, can you see, to form an X through the stitch, yarn round needle, pull through, slip off. So we've slipped it onto the right hand needle. So you go in, round, through and slip onto your right hand needle. In, round, through, off and slipped onto your right hand needle. So you're just moving stitches from one needle to the next. So in, round, through and off. 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 And that's all you're going to do all the way to the end, to the last stitch. So in, round, through and off, in, round, through and off, in, round, through and off. Take it slow, slow and steady, in, round, through and off. So as you can see, it move once you get to how comfortable you are holding your needles. Now as you can see, I hold my needle, I kind of do a knife hold, and I keep that resting between my thumb and fingers. And that's how I hold my needle when I've got a few stitches on my, and the left hand is guiding, is just guiding the needle. So more or less the right hand needle is staying stationary. It's the left hand needle that's doing all the work. So if you can see that. So your left hand needle is like the one that's going to be doing all the work. And if you're left-handed, it's just the same principle, guys. You're going to be working, moving the stitches off your left needle, off your right needle onto your left needle. So as you can see, that is the first row done, and you can see how awesome that looks, how nice and neat that looks. So we are going to in effect be doing 20 rows of knit, which is garter stitch, the the garter stitch pattern, which is 20 rows of knit. So when you've done your 20 rows, you'll have 10 little notches. That denotes a row. So you'll have 10 of those one side, and you'll have 10 on the other side. I'll go through this with you. Continental knitters, you do how you hold your yarn. I am not a continental knitter. I've tried, I just can't do it. I suppose because I'm a die-hard thrower. I was going to say something else, but I've completely forgotten. It's gone out of my head. So let's get this next row done. So we're going to in through the loop, so going in, round, through and off, in, round, through and off, in, round, through and off, in, round, through and off. And just keep practicing these rows. Once you've done these 20 garter stitch rows, knit stitch rows, which we're knitting at the moment, so when you've done your 20 rows of knit, put it to one side, and if you want to continue practicing casting on and knitting, practice your knitting stitch and getting your tension right, then by all means please do that. And if you want to share with me the progress, what you're how you're doing with your knitting and that, if you do hashtag knitting Linda, and please consider joining my Facebook group, which is Linda's Crochet Nook. That would be awesome. I would really love to see how you're progressing, and that I'm super excited for this series. So that's row 2. So as you can see, what I was saying before, you've got one knit row, you can see, but if I turn it over, you can see the little ridges for that one. So we've done 2 rows. So I'm going to leave it there. I will put the time slots for talking about the notions bags, talking about the knitting needles, the casting on and the knitting, so that you can if you need to refer back to how to cast on, refer back to how to do the knit stitch, then it's very easy for you to do that. I'm so excited to see everybody joining in with me with this. I'm just super excited. I will see you next time. In the next tutorial we will be going on to the purl stitch. Please keep your stitches on. These, once you've done your 20 rows, put this to one side and practice on some of your, you know, scrap yarn that you've got. Practice if you want to do more practice, but for this piece, if you just do 20 rows, leave it, put it to one side, and then the next tutorial you can pick it up, because you know you've already done your stitches, your rows, and you've casted on your 40 stitches, you've knitted your 20 rows, and we're going to continue on this piece of work to do our purl stitch. And then we'll do rows of the purl stitch. We'll do 20 rows of the purl stitch, and then in the next tutorial we'll do the purl stitch, teaching you how to do the purl stitch, and then we'll go on and I'll show you how to do knit a row, purl a row for 20 rows. So and then you've got a nice swatch then to just keep and make notes of. I do intend to do a booklet of abbreviations and symbols for what's on the ball bands, what they all mean. I also intend to do knitting needle sizes, US and UK. The abbreviations are universal on any pattern, so you can buy any pattern from all over the world, and it's very easy to follow. Whereas with the crochet we have US terminology and UK terminology. So until next time guys, go away and practice. If you need any help, my email is in the about page. Don't forget, if you want to share what you've created, or what you know, your test piece, your sample pieces, hashtag knitting a Linda. I would so appreciate it. And good luck. Until next time, take care, stay safe, but more importantly guys, be kind to you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.